The ground shook beneath his feet, smoke rose over the burning trees, and the sky glowed orange from distant fires. Commander Jakob Dunn ran through the broken forest, his chest heaving, boots splashing in the mud. His rifle was gone. His unit was gone. His map was shredded. He had no direction. No backup. Only the roar of war behind him and the strange silence ahead. Jakob didn't know what hit them. One moment they were setting up camp, the next, black ships fell from the sky like thunder. Alien machines stormed through their ranks. Their bullets didn't stop them. Energy beams tore through tanks and men like paper. Screams echoed in his ears as he ran. But now silence. He stopped near a fallen log, dropped to one knee, and listened. Only the crackle of fire in the far distance. His hand trembled as he reached for the small survival knife tied to his boot. Useless against what they fought. Jakob pushed forward. He had to get out of this war zone. He had to survive, but something was wrong. The air was too still. The forest too quiet, and then he heard its soft footsteps behind him. He turned fast. Blade ready but stopped cold. She stood there, barely 10 feet away, not a human. Not a soldier. She looked like something out of a dream or a nightmare. Her skin shimmered red like smooth scales. Wings folded behind her back. 2 black horns curled above her long red hair. Her eyes were large, glowing softly like fire in the night, and she was beautiful. Not in a normal way. In a way that made time slow down. Like the world paused for her. Jakob didn't lower his blade, but his hand shook. She stepped closer slowly, carefully. He took a step back. "Stay there," she didn't answer. Her lips moved, but the words weren't in any language he knew. Jakob's eyes scanned for weapons, none. Just strange bands of cloth and metal wrapped around her body like armor. Elegant, tight. But she didn't look like a soldier. She looked like someone important. She pointed at his hands, then to the knife, then to the ground. Jakob frowned. "You want me to drop it?" She nodded. He didn't trust her. Why would he? His unit had been wiped out by aliens. And she clearly wasn't human. But something in her eyes. They weren't cold. They weren't the eyes of a killer. Slowly, he lowered the knife. She walked closer, silent as wind. Jakob didn't move. When she reached him, she raised a small silver rope from her side. He froze. She gently took his hands and tied them, softly. Not tight, not cruel. She looked into his eyes again, as if asking permission. He didn't fight. Something told him not to. When she finished, she sat down in front of him, her wings folding neatly behind her. Her hands rested on her chest, and her voice came again soft. Melodic, strange. Jakob didn't understand the words, but he understood the feeling. She was asking him something, not as a prisoner, not as a guard. She was asking if he would stay. And Jakob didn't know what to say. The world was at war. He was alone, broken, tied, and lost in enemy land. But for the first time in hours, he didn't feel fear. He just felt her presence. Her calm. Something had changed, and deep down, Jakob knew this wasn't just about survival anymore. Jakob sat in silence, watching the alien girl across from him. His hands were still tied, but she hadn't hurt him. In fact, she looked nervous. Her wings twitched once, then stilled. Her eyes kept returning to his face, as if searching for something. An answer, maybe. Jakob finally spoke. "You're not going to kill me, are you?" She tilted her head, as if curious. She didn't understand his words, but she did something else. She reached into a small pouch tied at her waist and pulled out a round silver disc. It lit up softly in her hand. She touched it to her temple. Then she leaned forward and gently pressed it to his forehead. Jakob flinched. It didn't hurt. Just a soft pulse like warm static in his brain. Then her voice came again. This time, he understood. "I am Silari," she said slowly. "You are not safe here. Jacob blinked. You speak English now? She nodded once. Translator device. Simple, old, not perfect. He looked at her, confused and wary. Why did you tie me up then? Solari lowered her eyes. You were scared. You were dangerous. I wanted you calm. You tied me to calm me? He said. Eyebrows raised. Yes. Her voice was soft. Not prisoner. Not slave. Just waiting. For what? She paused. I don't know. That answer made no sense. But somehow it felt honest. Jacob sighed and looked around. The sky had darkened. Stars blinked through the smoke. They were still in the forest, but it felt like a different world now, quieter, colder. He looked back at her. Are you part of the army that attacked us? Her face darkened. No, I ran from them. You're a deserter? She didn't know that word. I left. They kill. They take. I did not want that. Jacob's heart pounded a little faster. This was important. Why did they attack us? They think humans are weak, she said. They came to rule, not speak. Jacob's voice dropped. And you? What do you want? Solari stared at him for a long moment. Then she touched his bound hands. I want to see if you are truly weak or truly kind. Jacob's breath caught. He didn't know what that meant. Was it a test? A warning? But she reached behind her and untied the silver rope. His hands were free. He didn't move right away. She had taken a risk. Why trust me now? He asked. Because, she said slowly, you didn't run. You didn't scream. You listened. Jacob stood up slowly, stretching his sore arms. He looked down at her. What now? Solari stood too. She was tall, almost his height, even without the horns. Her wings opened a little, catching the starlight. You stay with me, she said. Just for the night. Then decide. Decide what? If you still wish to run. Or stay. Jacob hesitated. Everything in his training told him to run. To hide. To report back. But everything in his gut told him she was different. She wasn't lying. She had saved him, maybe in a strange way, but she had still saved him, and part of him didn't want to be alone again. He looked around once more, then gave a small nod. All right, he said. I'll stay. She smiled softly, and for the first time, Jacob noticed her smile didn't look alien at all. The night air was cold, but Jacob didn't notice it much anymore. He walked beside Solari, deeper into the dark forest. Her wings stayed folded close, and her steps made no sound. She moved like a shadow, calm, graceful, careful. Jacob followed, his thoughts racing. Every part of this felt strange. He should have been dead. He should have fought her. Reported her. Something. But instead, he was walking through alien land with an alien woman who once tied his hands. And yet, he didn't feel unsafe. She led him to a quiet cave at the base of a tall rocky hill. Inside, a low fire burned. The Fendu. Walls glowed faint red, as if the stone itself held heat. Solari knelt beside the fire and placed her hand over it. The flames grew stronger, but didn't burn her skin. Jacob sat down across from her, watching. You have fire stones? He asked. She nodded. Old magic. Your people call it tech. He smiled a little. Looks like both. For a while, they didn't speak. The fire crackled gently. Outside, the wind howled through the trees. Jacob's stomach growled. Solari heard it. She opened a small pouch and pulled out a piece of dried meat. It was strange-looking, bluish and thin, but she held it out to him. He took it carefully, sniffed it. Safe? She nodded. I eat it too. He took a bite. It was salty and tough, but not bad. He hadn't eaten in almost a day. Why are you helping me? He asked again. Solari looked into the flames. Because I needed someone to help. Me too, and no one did. He waited. My people think humans are soft, that you will lose the war. But I watched your kind fight. I saw the fire in your people's eyes. It is different from ours. Then why are you running from your people? Jakob asked. She didn't answer right away. I was chosen to fight beside a warlord, she said slowly. But I said no. He called me traitor. He wanted to mark me. I escaped. Jakob's eyes narrowed. Mark you? For what? For disobedience, she said. And for refusing to be taken. Jakob felt something tighten in his chest. Now he understood why she had been alone, why she was hiding. She wasn't just a soldier who left a war. She was hunted. Are they still looking for you? He asked. She said. And now? They will look for you too. Jakob tensed. Because I'm with you? She nodded. They don't allow mercy or friendship. If they see us together, they will try to kill both. Jakob leaned back against the cave wall. This was bad. He should have gone the other way. But now he was tangled in something much bigger than himself. You should have let me go, he muttered. You said you'd stay, she replied. I didn't know what I was staying for. Solari looked up at him, her eyes glowing softly. In the firelight. You're staying ... because I need you. Jakob didn't reply. His heart beat faster. He could still leave. Still run. But as he looked at her wounded, exiled alone, he realized he didn't want to, whatever war was coming. He was already in it. And maybe, just maybe, she was the only one who knew how to survive it. Jakob woke to the sound of distant thunder, but there were no clouds in the sky. He sat up quickly, reaching for the small knife Solari had given him. She was already awake, crouched near the cave entrance, eyes locked on the trees. It's not thunder, she said quietly. It's them. Jakob's muscles tensed. The soldiers? She nodded. Hunters, they track by sound. And by smell. He moved closer, his voice low. Can they find us here? Not yet. But they will. Come this way. Jakob gripped the knife tighter. We should leave. Solari's wings shifted. There is a tunnel behind the fire. It leads to the river. We can use the water to hide our scent. Without waiting, she kicked out part of the fire pit wall, revealing a narrow, dark path. Jakob glanced back once at the small cave. It had been safe, warm, almost peaceful. Now, like everything else in his life, it was gone. They moved fast through the tunnel. It was tight, damp, and cold. Solari moved ahead, her body glowing faintly red in the dark. Jakob followed, trying not to. Minutes passed. Then they emerged onto a rocky riverbank. The water rushed fast and clear. Solari turned. Into the river. Walk downstream. Stay low. Jakob didn't argue. The water was freezing, but it pulled away their footprints and scent. They walked for nearly half a mile before she led them out into tall grass. Finally, they rested under a thick tree. Both were soaked, shivering. Jakob looked at her. Why do they want to catch you so badly? Just because you refused their war? Solari hesitated. It's more than that. I was born in the blood court. My voice matters. If I stand against them, others might too. Your royalty? Jakob asked, surprised. She nodded slowly. I was. Now I am nothing. Jakob looked away, thinking. And me? Why hunt me? You stayed with me, she said. That makes you a traitor to them. He laughed bitterly. I didn't even know your name until last night. You do now, she said quietly. And you stayed. Jakob stared at the trees. The forest seemed endless. The sky above was getting brighter. Morning was coming. He felt tired, confused, but also connected. Something about Solari pulled him. It wasn't just her looks or her story. It was the way she looked at him, not like an enemy, not like a tool, but like someone who mattered. I can still leave, he said softly. Yes, she replied. You can. He looked at her. But I won't. She said nothing, but her eyes softened. They sat in silence as the sun began to rise, but far behind them, The wind shifted, and with it came the faint hum of alien engines. The hunters were coming. Jacob ran beside Solari through thick trees and sharp roots. The ground was wet, and the air buzzed with energy. Behind them, the hunters were close. Too close. They didn't speak. There was no time. The alien engines howled above the treetops. Flashing lights cut through the forest like search beams. Jacob ducked under a branch, breathing hard, his legs burning. He wasn't trained for this kind of run, not through wild alien woods with no food, no rest and death behind him. Solari moved like wind, her wings folded tightly. Her hands glowed, and sometimes she would touch a tree or rock. When she did, the path around them changed. Branches shifted, leaves twisted, and roots covered their tracks. Jacob was stunned. "What are you doing?" she whispered. "Oh, blood. The forest listens to me. Only a little." Jacob didn't ask more. They ran. Suddenly, a sharp light hit them from above. A scout drone. Solari looked up and shouted something in her language. A beam of heat struck the tree beside them. Bark exploded. Jacob grabbed her arm and pulled her down behind a fallen log. Dirt sprayed as another blast hit nearby. "They're firing!" Jacob yelled. Solari nodded. Her eyes were glowing bright now. "We need to fight. I thought we were running. If we run forever, we die tired," she said. "But if we fight now, we may live." Jacob didn't have a gun, only a knife. "And no armor. With what? I don't have weapons." She turned to him and placed her hand on his chest. Her skin felt hot. "You do now." He felt it, heat moving through him. Not burning, but awakening. His heartbeat doubled. His fingers tingled. A strange red glow passed over his arms. "What did you do to me?" he asked. Solari didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on the approaching light. "Stand," she said. "Don't think. Just move with me." Jacob stood. His body felt light. Stronger. His vision was clearer. Every breath felt like fire in his lungs, but it didn't hurt. When the drone came low, Solari leapt high into the air, wings snapping open. She spun once and threw a glowing blade from her waist. The drone cracked in midair and burst into sparks. Jacob didn't even blink. A second drone came from the right. This time Jacob moved without thinking. He jumped behind a tree, spotted a rock, picked it up, and with a strange strength threw it. The rock hit the drone dead center. It spiraled, then smashed into the ground. He looked at his hand, shocked. "I'm not this strong." Solari landed beside him. "You are now, for a little while." "How?" "My power, shared," she said quickly. "It won't last, but long enough to fight." Before he could speak, figures dropped from the trees. Not machines. Soldiers. Tall, armored, with sharp claws and glowing blades. One pointed at Jacob, the human. "Take him." The others moved fast. Solari rushed forward, spinning, kicking, slashing. Her wings cut like blades. Jacob stepped back, but then remembered. He was stronger now. Faster. He stepped into the fight. He ducked a strike, grabbed the soldier's arm, and slammed him into a tree. Another one rushed him. Jacob dropped low and drove his knife into the alien's leg. The soldiers screamed. It was chaos. Jacob and Solari moved like one, back to back, blocking, dodging, striking. One by one, the enemy fell. When it was over, they stood in the middle of the forest, panting, bleeding, alive. Jacob dropped to one knee, shaking. The red glow on his arms faded. "It's gone," he said. Solari knelt beside him. It was enough. Jacob looked at the bodies. "They'll send more. They already are," she said. "And the next wave will be worse." Jacob stared into her eyes. "I'm not running anymore," he said. "I'll fight with you." Solari's voice was low. "Then we fight together. As one." But far above, in the dark sky, the warlord who hunted her watched the battle through his ship, and he smiled. Asterisk. The clearing was quiet again. But not for long. Jakob sat against a tree, his chest rising and falling slowly. His arms ached. His hands were sore. His face was cut. But he was alive. Beside him, Solari stood tall. Her red skin was marked with dark blood, some hers, some not. Her wings folded tightly behind her back. Her eyes were fixed on the sky. "They're coming," she whispered. Jakob didn't need to ask who. "The warlord?" he said. She nodded. "He's near. I can feel it. He's not like the others. He'll come himself." Jakob stood slowly. "Why? For you?" "Yes, I was promised to him in blood." "He thinks I still belong to him." Jakob's fists clenched. "You don't." A strange silence filled the forest. Even the wind stopped. And then he arrived. A massive ship hovered above the trees, casting a shadow over the forest. Lights flashed. The air pulsed with energy. And from the center, a tall figure descended slowly, calmly. He didn't wear armor. Like the others. His body was thick with dark muscle, his horns long, his eyes glowing like fire. He landed with a deep thud and looked straight at Solari. "Come back," the warlord said, "before I burn this world." Solari didn't move. "I'm not yours. You were born to me. I chose freedom." He stepped closer, ignoring Jakob. "You chose weakness." She shook her head. "I chose truth." The warlord raised his hand. Flames burst from his palm. Jakob stepped between them. "You'll have to go through me," he said. The warlord laughed. "You're nothing human. I could break you with a thought." Jakob's heart pounded. His knees shook. But he didn't move. Solari stepped beside him, her hand touching his shoulder. "You're not nothing," she said softly. "Not to me." Power passed between them again, but this time it was stronger, brighter. Solari's glow wrapped around him, entering his chest, his arms, his mind. He gasped. The warlord's smile faded. Jakob moved, not like before. Faster, smarter, stronger. The first strike came like lightning. Jakob dodged it, slid low, and hit the warlord in the chest. The impact sent shockwaves through the ground. Warlord growled and struck back, but Jakob blocked, twisted, countered. Blow after blow. They fought. Solari joined the fight, her wings flashing, her body like flame. Together, they attacked not as two people, but as one force. The forest shook with their battle. Finally, Jakob landed a hard strike to the warlord's throat. He dropped to his knees. Solari walked forward, standing over him. "You ruled with fear," she said. "But I found something stronger." He looked up, blood dripping from his mouth. "A human?" She nodded. "Yes, a human who didn't run. A human who stayed." The warlord collapsed. The sky above cleared. The ship rose and pulled away. The remaining soldiers scattered. The war was not over, but this battle was. Jakob sat down again, breathing hard. Solari knelt beside him, her hand finding his. "You stayed," she whispered. He looked at her, tired, but smiling. "You asked me to." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The forest was still again, not in fear, but in peace.